at Life LDC Knits. It's May 21st, that's a holiday here in Canada, Victoria Day, and I decided to take the opportunity to have a little sit down. I know it's been a while. I haven't been knitting a lot, but I have been crafting and doing other things, so I'm going to share that with you today. So today I'm drinking just a nice, refreshing glass of water. You really need to drink, we all need to drink more water, don't we? So cheers, let's have a little chat, and we're going to talk about top to toe today. Okay, so let's start from the bottom up, toes. You know that I have been knitting socks, and so my most recent sock project is one of my sock tubes that I had cranked up, and so this was a tube for my hubby, so it's his size of tube. So I got out his favorite pair of socks to keep my measurements on track, and he has and I don't think this is unusual, but he does have feet that are two different sizes, so he likes one of his socks to be ever so slightly shorter, and you can see it here. It's 3 rows shorter than the other one. So I I did my usual thing with the sock tube. I started out by putting toes on 2 pieces of the sock tube, and then I finished the tops. Can't see it against my dark top, but I finished the tops. So the toes and the heels were going to be white, and the top is going to be black. And I think that looks great with this pattern. I absolutely love this. I believe it is a Regia. It's an old Regia, so it's not something that I can say, hey, you can go buy, because I don't know if they still have it. I had all this, I had all this sock yarn that I eventually gave up on and sent and had them all cranked up into tubes. And so I'm just every once in a while, if I don't want to start a new sock, which I would start with my Rowan yarn, I'd pick up a sock tube. So that's what I've been doing here. And so then I made the mistake of casting off the edge too tightly. So he doesn't like this top of his socks too tight. And if you can't get them up over your heel, it doesn't matter, right? So I had done the whole thing, and I had to unpick it and do it again. That's why I've got all these ends, and I'll have to finish them. And then I use a long needle, and I pick up the stitches for the heel. So I use a nice long needle, and I pick up the stitches. This case, this is 72 stitch sock, so 36 across and 36 back, and I leave a row in between. Snip that row and then unravel it to each side, and it gives you a nice opening to create the sock heel, which is pretty much the same as the toe, just a little bit longer. Gives you a nice sock heel. So this one's done except for the ends, and this one I'm fixing up the top that I had cast off too tightly. So I'm going to fix that, and then I'm going to pick up the stitches for the sock heel, and I'll show you that. So when I took the sock tube and decided where to divide it for the 2 socks, I tried to make sure that the pattern was the same, starting with the toe. So it looks pretty darn close to me. So that means that on this sock, which is this new sock, is the long one. So this one I have to make 3 rows shorter. One, 2, 3. So I think that I'm going to break apart for the heel on this sock right in this gray 3-row stripe. Maybe 1 row up. Maybe I'll do it one row on the orange, then the gray will be the cut line, and the middle gray will be the other side. That's what I'm going to do. So I use this long circular needle and I go through picking up the right hand part of the V, and I picked up more than I actually need, 72 to 72 stitch sock. So that means I need to pick up 36. The hardest part of this to me, this part is fiddly, but the hardest part is making sure that your sock isn't twisted. So you have to go to the side of the toe and follow those stitches down and make sure that you are completely flat on one side. You don't want your sock to be twisted because of the placement of the heel. So I'm just looking at that now, and then when I figure that out, I can just pull this, because it's a circular needle, I can pull it and let the stitches off on either side to make it even. So this is really the significantly fiddly bit that you need to take care of. I thought I'd recorded picking up the other side of the stitches. I actually did it on double pointed needles because I forgot one very important thing. When you've picked up one side and it's sitting on the needle tip, then you must slide it down onto the cable so that you have enough room to pick up the stitches on the other side. I messed that up. Sorry, I forgot to record it. So I transferred them to the other needle tip, and I'm just going to make sure I don't pull the wrong one out. I'm going to slide it so they're both rows of stitching are sitting on the cables, and you can see the row of stitches in the middle, and that's what I'm going to snip right in the middle and then unpick out. The moment of truth, that first snip right in the center of the stitches that you've put on needles to make the heel flap or heel, the heel stitches, and you pick it back one leg of the stitch at a time, and you're working with the stitches held on the cable, so you've got room to work. And you'll see that as you get to the end, make sure that the actual yarn that you're picking out is still running through the one stitch at the very end. And you'll see that here you get up to these last few stitches, and on the very last stitch, when the thread is just through one side of it, you leave it, and that keeps that edge nice and tight when you pick up the stitches. See, one more. Yeah, there you go. See, the one half is still in there. That's perfect. Now flip it around and go back the other way. So here we are getting to the end of the other side of the sock heel opening, and there again, just keep it through that last stitch. And there you go, you're ready to pick up stitches and do your heel. So you never know, you might actually see these being modeled by the end of the video, by the time I've done my editing and that. I just love this pattern on this sock tube, and I think they're going to make a great pair of socks, and I really look forward to that. So that's the toe part of today's top to toe video. I'm not going to go straight up to the top part yet. I think I'm going to show you my new summer project. It was very delayed, long story, but my yarn order went to the wrong address, went to my old address. So I had to wait for things to get processed and get it back here and sort all that out, right? And so I'm pretty sure if you watched my magazine 72 review, the beautiful Rowan summer magazine 73 review, you might have picked up on what sweater that I wanted to knit. And it's a first in many ways for me. I have never knit with Summer Light DK before. I have never knit a stranded project in cotton yarn. Stranded knitting is usually, for me, not usually, always in wool yarn. And so I thought, quite a challenge. I love the look of this. I thought it would be great for the summer here because I am now a cyclist. I have a bike, so I'll be going out early in the morning when it's still chilly because we are down by the lake. It'll be chilly, and I'll maybe take this with me and I can bundle it up and put it in my little backpack when I'm riding if it gets too warm. So I thought this would be a great project. So here are the colors it calls for. The background shade is called Seashell, and it looks like a natural, but it's got, I would say it's got a very slight grayish undertone. It's a gray beige undertone. And then Sailor Blue, which is another way of saying navy blue, I guess. Khaki is a highlight color. It's on the little stripes in between the patterns, in between the motif patterns. Then Rouge is the main color for the motifs. And I have to admit, I was thinking about substituting for this because it's not really one of my favorite colors. I don't wear that color at all, but I thought I should maybe be a little bit more daring. If I start knitting and I hate it, I'll just order some more of something else. And then Favorite Denim is also it's that little swirly pattern between the patterns. It's like a little Piri pattern. And then Cantaloupe, which is the highlight pattern. That's one motif that sort of runs straight across the chest in Cantaloupe, which is one of my colors. So it would be sort of easy for me to substitute Cantaloupe for where Rouge is and put Rouge where the Cantaloupe is, just this little highlight. And I will contemplate that as I start the project. I got to admit, now that I see the Rouge, I'm thinking I might not want to have the Rouge. Got any thoughts on that? Let me know. So this is what I'm going to be knitting. And I've also been looking at the Rowan needles. I love these Rowan needles. Yes, I think they're expensive. They're sort of like, I'd say they're in the same category as Lantern Moon needles. I love Lantern Moon needles. And I have a couple of needles here. I just don't have the right needles for this project. But look at these. They're absolutely gorgeous. This is a 6mm needle. They're so soft. They're birch. And they're so beautifully finished. And if you look on the Rowan website, you will see that this is a plant in India that does these for Rowan. And what I love about it, and I think I've mentioned this before too, because I mention the same things quite a bit. It's a predominantly women employee factory. And so you must go to the Rowan website and read about it. I'll put a link in the notes below. So while I have 3 sets of these, I don't have the right sizes, so I've ordered them, and I'm hoping that they're going to be here any day now. And always wanting to be fully accessorized, I have a Rowan needle case. Hey, what can I say? Okay, so we're up to the top part of the top to toe discussion today. And you know I like knitted hats. I remember doing this one. This is a Kate Davies hat. I love this hat, and I've gone on to make all sorts of other hats. I love my my hat that was made from the start of one of those Kate's Earth Stripe wraps. I love that hat. I love hats. I've got all sorts of them, but they're all winter hats. And hubby and we play lawn bowling in the summer, and I sort of avoid the sun on my face, and I slather it with sunblock. But I really discovered playing lawn bowling that having a hat on really keeps your head cool. So I bought quite a few hats, but at the Rowan Connect, last Rowan Connect event, there was an option for a workshop for a crochet hat. So the workshop was led by Samira Hill, who I'd never heard of as a knitter, but she was a great teacher. And it's called Margarita. It's by the Rowan design team, and it is designed for either hand knit cotton, and also if you wanted to downsize it, someone had done it in Rowan glacé, because they had a smaller head. Well, I have a big head, I have lots of hair, so I was worried about the sizing. I didn't have any hand knit cotton on hand, but I did have Rowan denim, and I'm going to step out on a limb here. This is my opinion only. I made a statement here that I've decided to censor out of this video. I do think further investigation is required, and I'm going to do that, and I will report back in a future episode. So I'm just going to keep this video here, and I'll be able to chop it back out and use it in the future. Mark that down, Anne, for a future investigative report. So I knit this in Rowan denim. It fit beautifully. I did put it in the washing machine. I did not, did I? I don't think I put it in on hot. I just put it in the washing machine. I washed it. And it did tighten up, and I like it because it fits. It fits my head. Now, but once I did this, I thought, is this really suitable for lawn bowling? No, I don't think so, because it's sort of floppy, but I don't know, we'll see. I might wear it lawn bowling. And then I noticed on all the Instagram sewing blogs, there's all this talk about bucket hats. And I started looking at bucket hat patterns, and there's lots of freebie bucket hat patterns out there. And the one that caught my eye was the Merchant and Mills bucket hat pattern, because it had sizing, and again, big head, lots of hair. That's why I struggle to find hats that I can actually just buy, because they're always for the average head size. So I made myself a Merchant and Mills deep brim bucket hat. I need to put a label on it so I know what's the front and the back. The only reason there's a difference in the front and the back is I wanted the really nice colorful bit. And you know, there's always a little piece of the fabric that's not as colorful. I didn't want this to be at the front. I want this to be at the back. So this is my bucket hat. Dots on the inside. And this is made out of one of those linen canvas fabrics. And I think this is going to be great for lawn bowling. And the wonderful thing about it, this was made with leftover fabric that I had bought for my Noodlehead Sandhill sling. So I have sort of a little matching outfit. And the interesting thing about this is, you know, I just said that I didn't like the ruby red idea. Look at that. The green, the background color, the ruby red, the cantaloupe. Silly Ann, I think I'm going to have to And has it got the two blues? Let me just reach that two blue. Oh my goodness. Yes, and it has dark blue and a light blue. So maybe I will have to keep the ruby red in there. It's funny how the pout, you know, we realize that there's things around us that talk to us that we don't even know about. So this will be great. This is a great thing again for my when I'm cycling. I could just whip it over my back and take along with me. I cannot wear my hat, of course, because although it's not mandatory by law, we do recommend in Canada here that you wear a cycling helmet. So I do have a cycling helmet. So anyway, back to the hats. So I made this one for me, and I've got another one on my cutting table. And then I also made one. This is the small brim version. Okay, marble fabric inside. This is linen canvas in just the natural color. And is there a back and a front to this one? I don't think so. Well, I'm going to put this to the front. This is for my hubby, and it fits him perfectly. I like the small brim too, but it doesn't really, like, it's more of a hat rather than like you could make a hat like that and put a big flower on it. Would be great in a nice fabric. He likes this for lawn bowling, but I notice he always whips it off when he's getting ready to hit a critical shot. So quite a difference between the narrow brim and the deep brim. As you can see, I'm actually wondering if I could make something halfway longer, maybe this length, and then I wouldn't have to fold it up when I was lawn bowling. Here's that paler color side. See, it's paler at the front versus when I flip this side up, there's a lot of color. And I do like that blue. So top to toes, that's what I've been doing. And my next project is going to be the cardigan out of Summer Light DK. My needles should be here any day now, and I will be casting on. I will finish these socks and I'll start another sock tube, but it will be for me. So added postscript, speaking of crochet, I've just signed up for the Rowan Connect crochet weekend, Saturday the 17th and Sunday the 18th of June. Now Rowan Connect things usually were like Friday, Saturdays. This is the first Saturday, Sunday event. There's nothing like Rowan and crochet. I just love the subtle way the yarns work together in crochet. It's totally different than knitting. And when you sign up for this, it is a £10 sign up, but you do get a code to get a discount off of any orders that you make because of this or with this or whatever. You can order anything you want. You also get a free pattern called Trento from Lisa Richardson. This is another cardigan, and it is made in creative linen. Well, I love creative linen, but I have had 2 failed attempts at finishing projects with creative linen. I'm not sure why. Both of them were pullovers. I wore the Kim Hargreaves one. I sort of liked it. Then I decided I didn't like it. I ripped it out and I started an Erica night sweater and I sort of liked it. And then I decided I didn't like it. So I'm in the process of ripping it out. So I might actually try using my creative linen for this project because I do like cardigans and I do love Lisa Richardson. And it's only a 2-dot skill level. So I'm hoping that someone like me who's not a superb, fabulous crocheter will be able to follow it. Now, I gotta say, when I did the workshop for this hat with Samira Hill, if I had this pattern and didn't have the instructions from Samira, I probably would have finished it, but I might have done some creative crochet to get around things that I really just didn't know. And the thing about this one, it was crocheted in the round. And so crocheting in the round is different. You really have to keep track of where that start of row is. And it's sort of like when you're doing crochet flat, it's if you don't get that first stitch right, your crochet goes off to one side or the other. So this is the same idea. You have to be able to crochet in the round. So reading this pattern is it's crocheted flat, but the back, it starts with a band, and then you crochet up, and you're crocheting the fronts, the two fronts and the back up to the armhole, and then you split. So it's an interesting construction, raglan shaping. So what the heck, I got the yarn. I should give it a go. And the crocheter. So that's it from me here and at Life LDC Knits. I just want to say thank you for bearing with me during my long absence. As I say, I have plans for the summer to document my new projects. So it looks like I'm going to be doing 2 new cardigans and keeping up with my sock knitting. I gotta get ahead in the sock knitting because we're wearing them out faster than I can knit them, to be honest here. We really like our hand knit socks. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for all you people who have already subscribed. Thank you for the likes. Comment, ask me anything you want to ask me, and I'll be happy to try and answer your questions. And until next time, happy knitting. As soon as I finished these socks, Alan had them on his feet, and he just loves them. They look great with his Birkenstocks, don't you think? So until next time, take care everyone, and happy knitting from here at Life LDC Knits.